views and opinions expressed in the following program are those of the hosts and guests, and not necessarily those of the staff and management of WWDB-TV.
So sexy it hurts, and I'm too sexy for Milan, too sexy for Milan, New York and Japan.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Doing It with Stiles this week. We appreciate you coming back and supporting the show and the station here at WWDB-TV. Today we have a very special guest on a very, very timely and important topic. The schools in Clark County, Nevada, are going to be opening up on the 10th of August. Is that correct?
Well, the teachers go back on the 5th, and we start training on the 10th.
Okay.
But the kids don't come back until the 24th.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, good. They got a little time then, yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so you're probably wondering who this is. This is Miss Theresa Graham. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay, and
Yes.
Miss Graham is with the Clark County Unified School District.
I am.
Okay,
Absolutely.
and what is your job? Are you a teacher, a janitor?
Well, actually, I'm considered a teacher, but I'm a strategist.
Okay.
So that means I work not only with the kids, but I work with the teachers. So I'm in a position where I help train and support the teachers that are in the trenches, as well as work with the kids that have the most need for
Okay.
the most support and help.
And do you teach as well, or from time to time, or?
Yes, so
Okay.
I'll actually work with small groups of kids that need more time or need more support,
Okay.
more help, that kind of thing.
So not like special education, but maybe you have a couple of students that are having a little bit of a hard time with reading or math or something like that?
Right, absolutely. So
Okay.
it'd be the kids that maybe are just a little bit behind,
Right?
that just need a little more support. Those would be our second language kids that we talk about all
Oh,
the
okay.
time, the ones that didn't grow up speaking English, so it takes them a little bit longer to pick up the academic language and
Right.
be able to do what the other kids are doing in the classroom, or maybe just kids that weren't exposed. They didn't grow up in one of those literature-rich environments. Their
Right.
parents weren't reading to them, maybe not by their parents' fault. Their
Right.
parents may have been working 2 jobs and not had the time to read to them. So I give them that little extra boost and support so that they can get caught up. They just need more time.
Is this during normal school hours, or is it like an after-school
No, it's
program?
during normal school hours,
Okay.
because usually like a reading block is like 120 minutes of
Okay.
reading instruction, but it's not all whole group. So just part of it is for the whole class, and then they break into smaller groups so
Oh,
we
okay.
can meet
Cool.
all the different needs.
Cool.
So it's usually during that time, and then I'm one of the smaller groups for the kids, and I work specifically on what that group of kids needs to practice.
What grade levels do you work with, or
I-
age levels?
I work K-5, but mostly I'm focused more on the little guys, doing more in first and second grade, trying to get them ready to read by third with the big initiative we used to have, read by grade 3,
Right.
to make sure all the kids were ready and able and on grade level by third grade. So my focus has been more early childhood and the young kids.
And that's the best place to start.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, if they need the help, if they don't get it there,
Then they fall farther and farther behind,
right,
and it gets harder and harder, to catch
for
them
them
up.
to catch up, and then they get frustrated, and then it snowballs from there.
Yes, because the self-esteem gets in there too.
Yes.
They know they're not keeping up with their classmates, and so then they get very frustrated.
Yeah.
And you just don't want to see kids frustrated, and you don't want them turned off to learning, because learning is so exciting. And reading is kind of the gateway.
Yeah.
So being able to help them with that is really exciting. I love doing it.
Good. How long have you been doing it?
I have been teaching, I'm going into my 26th year,
No kidding.
so I've been doing it for a while.
Wow.
Yeah, and
So
I've
you
always...
were like 11 when you started? or-
Yeah, I was 11 when I started teaching. Thank you, John. No, actually, I have had other careers before I got into teaching. It took me a while to
Right.
kind of find where I kind of fit, but that, I think part of it had to do with my own kids, because I have kids too that are in the public school system, and it's been kind of nice being a teacher, because then I was off when they were off.
Right.
I could
Yeah,
be
that's
there
cool.
more for them.
Yeah.
And then I could understand what they were going through, because I was doing the same thing. So it worked out really well to help them at home.
So how did you get into teaching? What was the spark or the impetus in just, hey, I want to do that, or I'm going to give that a try?
Well, My own schooling, for starters, I love going to school. I love learning. I was always taking extra classes and going to school. And I always thought it was fun and exciting. I'm one of those kind of strange nerds, I guess. Loved science, loved math. And I wanted to kind of instill some of that in the other kids.
Okay.
And to kind of share that love and that excitement, because I know not everybody had those same experiences growing up. Like my counselors were, I hate to say, terrible.
I was very fortunate. I had a couple of really good teachers when I was in junior high and high school. And, you know, there's just that one that always stands out that you is just doing that little bit of extra that makes you want to do better. And that's that is a noble profession. It's right up there with heart surgeons as far as I'm concerned, because that is the future of our country. And what happens there and what the kids are exposed to is what we're going to end up living with at some point in time in the future. So right now is an extremely weird time for schools, for teachers, for kids, with the coronavirus out. So what as a teacher and a mother, what are you going to do? I mean, how is the school district prepared, or what are they doing to prepare you and the kids to come back into this environment?
Yeah, you know, it's really a tough question. And when you think about our school district, I know they're dealing with this nationwide and around the world as well. We are the 5th largest school district. We have like 320,000 students. That's over 250,000 students that we're trying to take care of and worried about and trying to make sure that they're safe and they feel safe coming back. I took a couple classes this summer, I know a lot of other teachers have, on trauma and just how to deal with some of these things, and equity and diversity, because it's not going to be fair. Whatever we came up with for coming back was not going to work for everybody.
Well, and that's the key. Everybody talks about, well, to be fair this or to be fair that. Life isn't fair.
No.
And if you try to make it fair, all you're going to do is screw everything up.
Yeah.
That's just a personal opinion. Send your cards and letters to
John.
to me. But what I'm saying is that different people have, or different kids, different students have different needs, and if you try to make it the same for everybody, somebody gets left behind or somebody gets bored because you're not keeping up fast enough. So
well, because same doesn't work.
yeah,
If we give everybody the same, that doesn't meet everybody's needs.
exactly.
And we really try really hard, especially here in Clark County, because we have such a diverse population, to mold to what they need, to figure out how am I going to best support this one child or this one child. But when you're talking about that many children, that's a lot of kids, and that's a lot of variations. And then you look at the staff. We have almost 20,000 teachers.
No kidding.
So that's a lot of teachers.
And there's still a shortage.
And there's still a shortage. Yeah, we don't have enough. And we have like 4,000 substitutes. So when you think about how do we prepare all these people, it's really daunting.
Yeah.
And they all have different feelings about going back. A lot of the teachers, and I know I've seen stuff on social media, oh, the teachers are being selfish, or the teachers aren't trying, and these kind of things. And I think what they miss is teachers are people.
Yeah.
They have elderly parents at home that they're taking care of. They have little children at home that they're taking care of. And they love the kids that they're teaching. Those have always been part of their families.
Right.
The biggest complaint I get from my own personal kids is, can you spend some time with us? You know, you're always worried about all these other kids. What about us?
Right.
Teachers spend a tremendous amount of time thinking about the kids, worrying about the kids. We want to go back. It's easier for us to be there. We want to give those kids those hugs. We want to be able to see what they need and meet those needs. It's easier. We've been trained to do it in person. So we'd rather do it that way if it wasn't for COVID, for those that have health concerns.
Right.
And
Well, and the younger kids too, in the age groups that you're working with, don't really understand the seriousness of you know, if they have to wear a mask, or, I mean, I can see the little kids running in the schoolyard, you know, licking their hands and want to hit somebody in the face with it just because,
Yeah.
you know, they think it's funny. And so that is going to be something that you guys are going to have to watch out for, right?
Well, yeah, but we've always had to watch out for some of that anyways.
Yeah.
Because there's
but I
always
mean, nobody's
been...
going to die
Well-
if you get spit on your face,
Right,
you know?
right.
So,
That is true. That is true.
And it, yeah, I'm not throwing rocks. I'm just
Right,
saying that
no,
this
no,
is
no.
going to be a fact of,
And that's why a lot of teachers weren't comfortable with coming
Right.
back. They're grateful that we can give it a try online. There is a lot of good things online.
and so explain that to me now. How is I mean, are you guys coming back full-time, 5 days a week, 8 hours a day, or however long and that's it, huh? There's no, okay, so you'll be here for a couple days and then 3 days online? I mean, for the students.
Right, right. Well, originally they were going to do a blended model. So it
Right.
would have been some of online, some of them working by themselves online, and some of them coming in doing the face-to-face.
But that doesn't really work for
It-
first couple of, you know, 6, 7, 8, 9-year-olds. Does that, the
Yeah.
online, does that really?
Well, I do have some concerns with the online part.
Okay.
And that's partially because my son, who is going to be a senior this year, he goes to an online school anyways. He
Okay.
started it last year.
Gotcha.
And so as an online school, there is a lot of coaching and there's a lot of support that the parent has to do.
Right.
You're in it together.
Okay.
Because you need to make sure that they're on that computer during the live times. You need to make sure that they know how to work all the equipment. You need to make sure they're getting everything done, that they have that nice quiet space in the house where they can stay focused on the screen and do what it is
Right.
they need to do. And it's not an easy job. I mean, I'd leave him and I'd go to work figuring he was in 11th grade, he can handle this,
Right.
but he still needed support. He
Yeah.
still needed help.
Well, yeah.
And, you know, but now we're talking elementary school kids. And it's not that we expect the parents to do the teaching, but they have to help support their kids. They need to make sure their kid gets in front of that monitor at the right time.
Right.
We're not there to do that.
Right.
We can handle the teaching, but we have to have a partnership. What came out of the spring, which was really nice, was a lot more working together with parents. The teachers were calling the parents almost daily. There was more of that communication. This is where your kid's at. How can we help your kid?
Right.
As opposed to teachers are just going to do it. We only have them so many hours a day. We can only do so much. It always needs to be a partnership.
Right.
You know, we love your kids, you love your kids. How can we work together? So some good has come out of it, that we have to work more together, you know.
So what are some of the restrictions or the requirements that the school district has put in place to help protect everybody?
They have been very serious about keeping everyone safe, about listening to the CDC and listening to the governor and following the different phases and making sure that if we go back, we're not congregating in common areas. I spent hours watching the board meetings, and I have to say that the board members were very concerned about keeping everybody safe, which was good to see.
Right.
So they're talking about extra cleanings, and when they were talking about the hybrid model, no kids would be on campus on the Wednesdays so that they could thoroughly clean between the switchovers. We have...
Okay, explain switch over to me. What do you mean by that?
Okay, they were talking about having different cohorts, so a cohort A, a cohort B, and a cohort C. So parents and kids that didn't feel comfortable coming back could be on C and do everything online. Those that were comfortable sending them, they would either go Monday, Tuesday, and do Wednesday, Thursday online.
Okay.
Or they would do Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday online and show face-to-face Thursday, Friday.
Okay.
So they were splitting the kids up because there's so many of them. To have them safely in a room, they could only have half at a time. So in between that, they would thoroughly clean everything
Gotcha.
again. We have gloves, we have masks, we have cleaning materials. As John mentioned earlier, the first 10 days that we have set aside where we go back and the kids aren't there, we're learning how to clean, we're learning how to disinfect, we're learning how to keep the environment safe. They had it set up so the teachers ate with their kids so that the kids weren't in the big multi-purpose room.
Gotcha.
The specialists were
So
going to...
in other words, their lunch or snacks or whatever would be in the classroom, okay, rather than going to the cafeteria or whatever?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so less contact
So
with
that,
more
that
people.
means more staff on the other side providing those meals for the kids, right?
Cleaning.
And you have to, I mean, it's not like they're going to bring in a tray, they're going to bring in pre-prepped meals?
Yep,
Is
everything
that the
would be
idea?
sealed.
Okay.
Everything. Well, at my school now, most of all their stuff is already sealed because we
Okay.
don't have a real kitchen in my
Gotcha.
school. So they warm things up, and most of it is already prepackaged.
Okay.
So schools
Is it
that
any good?
yeah, some of it. No offense to the lunchroom ladies, they try really hard.
No, I know.
It's just
Yeah, and the only stuff that was good when I was eating in the cafeteria was the fish sticks and the pizza. So,
Yeah,
you know,
and
everything else
that's-
was crap.
and that's
but-
pretty much how
so,
it
yeah,
is.
that's a rite of passage.
They
Yeah.
have worked on trying to make it healthier,
Okay.
add more fruit. I've actually seen broccoli and carrots and all that kind of stuff for the kids to snack on. So they are really trying
Okay.
to make a difference. But when you're cooking for that many people, it's just never,
I've
stuff.
heard some comments about overkill.
Mm-hmm.
That they're doing too much, or that's that's ridiculous. You don't need to do that. And my thought, and this is a personal opinion, so these are our kids. So why not go that extra mile?
Right.
So what if you are going a little bit overboard to protect our children? I mean, I don't have any kids in school, but I still want to make sure that the next generation coming up is smart,
Yeah.
educated, aware of what's going on. And if I go to a doctor, I don't want somebody that cheated his way through medical school. You know what I mean?
Oh, no, absolutely.
And so I'm all for that, whatever extra we have to do to protect the kids, because the kids you got the kids, you got the janitors, you got the people who work in the kitchens, you got the bus drivers, and then they go home to their parents, and then the parents. So, one kid could just blow the whole thing up.
Potentially. Yes,
So
absolutely.
as I'm going to ask you a couple of personal questions that
Okay.
you don't have to answer. No, I'm serious. It's like, so what are your concerns about you going back and your kids going back? What are you most concerned about or most focused on?
I think for me, because my kids are in high school, so they're older, and if you can believe some of the research that's out there and things that are going on, they're in an age group where they're a little more susceptible
Than the younger ones.
Than the younger ones. So that and their campuses are huge. There are thousands of kids on those campuses.
Yeah.
And it's really hard to do a great job of keeping everybody separate. And in that age group, they're like the 20-year-olds running
Yeah.
around. They're not really listening. They understand, but their brains aren't completely formed, and so they know now.
And they're indestructible.
Right. Well, we were then, weren't we? When
Yeah,
we were
that's
in
what I
our,
mean. It's
our
like,
teens and
yeah,
our
ain't
20s.
gonna get me, yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. And then you don't want to scare them to death either.
Right.
You don't want them so frightened that they become recluses and that they don't go out and they don't enjoy life anymore.
Right.
We've had a high rate of suicides going, all that going up because people are being closed in and they're scared and they're afraid. And I don't want that for anyone's child. I'm not, I don't know why, maybe, I think I'm indestructible still. I'm not as worried about getting it as some people are. My whole family is still out there and involved. My oldest son, he is an EMT, so he's out on the front line. He's
Right.
a first responder. He's dealing with transporting people and that sort of thing. My husband's in security. He's been working since day one. So a lot of people that are out there still in the front lines. And I don't want to downplay anyone's fears because it's
Right.
very scary.
Yeah, well,
And-
there is some serious concerns there.
and people with health issues. I've
Right.
been very blessed. I don't have any health issues to worry about. So I'm not as worried about it. So I want to go back, but I do worry that I could spread it to somebody else.
Right.
I would feel horrible if I was part of the problem instead of part of
Asymptomatic and you don't have
part
the-
of
yeah.
the cause.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think that's what this whole thing about the masks is, that what people, I think, are missing the point of is that it's not going to protect me from you, it's going to protect you from me. And that's where we should at least have enough concern about our fellow citizens that, hey, maybe I got it. You know, look at some of the diseases that you can be a carrier of, but not have.
Yeah.
And so you don't know. Now I'm going to throw another monkey wrench into it.
Okay,
And if I
go for it.
if the numbers are correct, my understanding is that we have close to 15,000 homeless students in our system.
We do.
So this is another monkey wrench that we're throwing into this whole thing, that these students are homeless. Some of them are living God knows where, and they don't have the opportunity sometimes to, you know, have the mask or social distance or wash their hands as often as possible or have hand sanitizer or something like that. So it's that, and I think in the age group that you're working with, it's probably not quite as prevalent. I'm sure there's a few there that are, you know, living in the shelters and things like that, but
Well, I'm at a title school, which
Okay.
means my school is all free and reduced lunch because of the poverty levels.
Gotcha. Okay.
We have a large, I shouldn't say large, but we do have a good percentage of kids that are considered homeless.
That's heartbreaking.
If they don't have their own residence and they're living with other families. We have
Okay.
multiple families in apartments. And like you said, so then it's crowded.
Right.
They're not getting a lot of space. They're not getting a lot of sleep. I mean,
Yeah.
even before this, it was heartbreaking.
Right.
And the inequities there, they're introduced to so much that they shouldn't have to be. And are they bringing that to school? Well, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's obvious.
And it's not their fault.
Right.
And
No,
so,
yeah.
Yeah, so we do all that we can to try to help them when they get there, you know. We have programs in place for clothing. We have programs in place. I mean,
There's some great groups out there.
School Bell's one.
Pardon me?
School Bell.
Right. There's the Just One Project. There's a couple that are focused directly to those homeless kids and under. They're over on Rancho, I think, and they put these backpacks together with the clothes and all the school supplies, and the kids can come in there
Yep.
and get them free. And I think that
Foursquare does meals.
Foursquare is
and
is
so our
awesome.
kids on the weekend take home like a backpack full of food.
And I think it's actually 3 squares.
3 squares, you're right.
4 square is the game we used to play with the red ball, and we got hit in the face with
That
it all the
is
time.
true. That is true. 3 square.
But yeah, they do an awesome job
They
too.
do.
So
Yeah, and hope they'll still be doing those sort of things. The school district gave away food all summer long.
Yes.
To help the kids out. Of course, practicing the social distancing, they were supposed to stay in their cars. They would hand them pre-sealed food, and then they would go. It's already August, so
Right.
school is going to start. Those first few weeks, the principals and everybody are scrambling to make sure all the homes, and this is where it's going to be a problem, has a device on which they can log in and are able to attend classes.
a laptop or a tablet or
Yeah, we're giving away Chromebooks. I shouldn't
Oh,
say
okay.
giving away. The school district is loaning and sharing Chromebooks so that the children can get online. I know they're partnering with Cox Cable to help
and
with
that was going to be my other thing.
connectivity.
So,
Yes.
Yeah. What are the? How do the kids? Not everybody has cable.
Right.
So, and if you don't have access to Wi-Fi or something
Mm-hmm,
like that, you know, you're kind of. So I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah.
I'm glad to hear that Cox
Yeah.
is working with the
They
kids.
are. And we're also looking for like Wi-Fi hotspots. So there's something where they're using school buses where they can do Wi-Fi hotspots.
Right, that's
where
great.
kids can go and then
Yeah.
they can pick up Wi-Fi there. We're working on partnering with the community, trying to get places to allow kids to use their Wi-Fi for school.
Public libraries and
Yep.
places like that. Are the
Yeah.
libraries still open? Are they open now or?
I believe they are.
I think so.
I think they've opened back up with the social distancing and
Yeah.
the masks required and that sort of thing. Because everyone, I mean, safety has definitely been on everyone's minds.
That's good.
And as much as we love the kids, we know we have to keep them safe.
Yeah.
And as much as it breaks most of the teachers' hearts that they can't do it in person,
Yeah.
they love those hugs, they love to see you guys, they love to be there, they want to keep everybody safe. And so we have to do that.
Yeah. That's so the next step then is Are they doing any kind of testing, or I mean, that's,
Yeah.
I mean, some of the places, some of the businesses,
Private
like they
industry.
take your temperature or something like that, and if you have a fever.
Yeah.
So are you guys doing anything like that you're aware of yet?
They talked about it.
Okay.
They talked about testing teachers. They talked about, but when you're looking at 42,000 teachers, and that's not just 42,000 employees
Right.
that you would be testing.
Right.
About 20,000 teachers. To do that would just be really expensive, time-consuming, and not always, it might not be worth the time.
But these are our kids.
I know.
How can you say it's too expensive? I know it's not you saying that.
Right, right. And that's one of the things that the union is really pushing, or the CCEA,
right.
to keep everyone safe, to make sure that those kinds of things are in place, that we
But I
take
mean, aren't they
temperatures at
at
the door.
least taking your temperature when you walk in the school grounds, or?
Well, we've had very limited access to the school
Okay.
since this all
So
started.
you don't know yet?
And what's going to happen starting next week
So you go back next week, but
Yeah.
the kids don't come back till the 24th?
till the 24th.
Okay.
So it gives us some time to
You
work
still
some
got 3
things
weeks
out
to figure it out.
for us to do some training, but the kids aren't coming. We can. We can opt to go, or we can work from home. We don't
You
have
mean
to go
between
into the
now and
building.
the 24th?
No, between now and whenever it goes to any kind of blended or face-to-face. Because the kids are going to be 100% online. Teachers can be 100%
Oh, wait.
online.
So I'm confused. So on the 24th of August, you're not going to have a flood of kids coming back into the schools? Okay.
No kids on the campus.
Okay, well, I feel a little better then.
Yeah, no kids on the campus. The board voted to do 100% online schooling.
All right.
So that means no kids at the schools.
Okay.
We don't have to worry about separating kids on buses. We don't have to worry about all that cleaning we talked about. We don't have to worry about any of that to keep the kids safe because they're not coming in.
Okay, so that's going to continue until such time as somebody makes the decision that we flattened the curve, or that we're on a
We're
downswing?
under that 10%,
Because I think now
yeah.
we've got, close to 50,000 cases here, or something like that?
Yep. And we're kind of aligning, from my understanding, with the governor's phases.
Okay.
So phase 1, when everything was shut down, definitely
Right.
online. We're in phase 2,
Two.
but we kind of slid back a little and added
Gotcha.
the masks. So we're like, okay, we're kind of treating the schools like we're in phase 1 in
Okay,
a
so then,
sense to
see,
keep
so
everyone
these
safe.
last couple of weeks, I've really misunderstood this. I thought that come August 24th, we're going to have all these people
No.
back in the physically back in schools.
No.
Okay, so
That
that's great.
option was voted down for now because the cases were on the rise.
Gotcha.
And what our board decided to do is that they're talking about every 30 days reevaluating. What are the numbers? What's happening? What does it look like? Are we looking towards maybe moving to a blended, or do we just need to keep put?
Okay.
My feeling, and this is just my feeling, it's not necessarily what's going to happen, that they'll go the whole 90 days, the first semester,
Yeah.
and leave it just the way it is. And then hopefully, God willing, and that the pandemic is, at bay, then we'll open all the way back up.
Okay.
And that would be awesome. But I don't think we're going to change the online until at least after the first of the year.
That's awesome. I'm really happy to hear that.
Yeah.
And this is a good opportunity for us to take a short break so that we can pay some bills and act like we know what we're doing and be professional kind of stuff. So give us a minute and we'll be right back. Thanks.
The golf store you've been waiting for is now open. Bob Allen Golf is ready to help you take your game to the next level. Bob Allen Golf is located at 6415 South Fort Apache, Las Vegas 89148. Choose your favorite clubs from our selection of Bridgestone, Callaway, Cleveland, XXIO, Srixon, Ping, Wilson, and more. We'll custom fit them in our state-of-the-art full-swing golf simulator. Come hang out with us and practice on our putting green to find out which club is perfect for you. Have your clubs repaired, reshafted, and regripped in our on-site tour shop. And talk about accessories. Guys and gals will feel comfortable and look sharp in the many sizes, colors, and options of apparel from Greg Norman, Black Clover, Under Armour, and more. The team at Bob Allen Golf takes your game as seriously as you do. Join our online family at boballengolf.com and stop in the store to meet us. Remember, at Bob Allen Golf, your game is in the bag.
See, I told you we'd be back. So I wanted to ask you, let's talk about the parents.
Okay.
What do the parents need to know at this point in time about what's happening?
Oh, gosh. Parents, it's really important that you realize we are learning things at the same rate you are. I get notifications from my kids' schools about what's going on, and that's how I'm getting a lot of my information. We're learning as you're learning. I want you to know we want to be back in the classroom with your kids. It has been such a rough transition for us. Teaching online is not the same as teaching face-to-face. We have to now learn new skills. We are learning how to run a digital classroom. My colleagues have been in classes all summer long trying to figure out how are we going to best reach our kids? How is this going to work? Those first 10 days that we're going back and the kids are not, it's for us to get training so we can learn how to best teach online. We're not doing this because we don't want to work. This is actually going to be a lot harder for us because it's something we don't know.
It's something that you've been doing for 27 years, and now you have to make a complete right turn and do it differently.
Yes.
And so everything that you've learned up to this point goes out the window.
A lot of it does.
Yeah.
A lot of
mean,
it does.
you know,
a lot of it will be the same.
And how do you, I mean, are you guys Zooming in? Is that what you're using? Or
Zoom, we started with Zoom, and then our school district said no Zoom because it had some issues. So then we had to scramble and learn Google Meets.
Okay.
So we were using Google Meets. And now the school district has added Canvas. They want Canvas to be the platform that we use. So all the teachers are like, oh, Canvas? I don't know Canvas. How does that work?
I've never even heard of it.
How do I even? So I have joined, and CCSD has a whole thing on Facebook for Canvas for teachers. It's a whole community and a network, and we are learning together on how to do this. The school district is going to give us some training, but teachers aren't going to wait.
Yeah.
Teachers don't wait to be trained. We're taking classes. We're paying to take classes. We've been taking classes all summer on how to reduce trauma for the kids, how to better reach them during this time because they're scared. We've been taking classes on equity and diversity to help reach the different needs of our kids. We know this is going to be hard, and we want you parents to know we're in this together. We're a team. We need your help, and we want to work with you to do what's best for our kids. We think of them as our kids as well.
This is this the Canvas or the system that you're going to be using? Is this interactive?
It is.
Okay, so the kids can ask questions, or they can raise their hand, and you're going to be able to respond to that. You can't quite give them the personal attention that you normally do in the classroom, but at least there is some interaction there. And
oh, absolutely.
I don't understand that. Could you say that again?
Yep. They can raise their hands. A lot of the programs that we're working with have the ability to do small groups. So basically the format, from my understanding, because we haven't had all the training on it yet, there's still stuff we haven't learned. But part of the time will be whole group, the whole class with you.
Right.
And then you'll deliver the lesson like you would in a classroom. And then you open up like office times or small group time where the kids, you're still online with the kids, but you're meeting in smaller groups with the kids.
Okay.
And you can schedule office hours where you can work with the parents too and the kids to help support things. And so we're still working the same hours. We're still required to be online either in office hours or directly teaching or teaching small groups or answering questions in our normal day. And then like teachers do, they talk to parents after hours. They talk to parents on the weekend. Like I said, for this to really work, we're going to have to work together. We're going to have to work as a team. And the teachers are scared. It's all new.
Yeah.
My son, like I said, goes to an online school. Those teachers have been trained. Most of them have 2 and 3 monitors set up because you're watching the kids, you're watching the chats, you're bringing up your screen and their screen, and you're sharing information, and cameras on you and the cameras on the kids. So you've got all of that you're watching as well as trying to deliver curriculum. And now so it's going to look so different.
So you've had to, and I use you in the editorial sense, have had to learn how to be more of a computer geek
Oh,
or
yeah.
nerd and do some of the things that normally, besides checking your email and Facebook and stuff like that, now
Right.
you're really having to jump in there and
Oh,
figure this out.
absolutely.
Because
Absolutely.
if you screw that up, you got how many kids normally, 15, 20, 30 kids in a classroom
Yeah,
typically?
it depends in the elementary.
Right, in the
absolutely.
elementary, yeah.
And then as you go up,
Right.
there's larger groups for sure. And those teachers
Wait,
in
wait,
high
wait.
school and middle
There's
school.
more than 30 kids in the average classroom?
In the higher grades, yes.
Holy
And it
crap.
depends on the school, because we talk about, we want things to be equitable, but they're not.
Right.
Schools like mine that get a lot more federal funding because of our clientele,
Right.
we can keep our numbers lower. Schools that don't get that extra support, they could have almost 30, 40, 45 fifth graders in a room.
Well, and Las Vegas has always been a very transient city as well, so you have that to deal with,
Right.
where you may have a student that comes in the middle of the school year or leaves in the middle of the school year.
Yeah.
And that's, that's a whole new thing that you have to deal with too. So
Oh, absolutely. And that was one of the reasons we wanted to be very consistent across all the schools during this time, to make sure if kids switched schools or
Right.
changed, we were all doing exactly the same thing, so they would have the same access. They would already know how to use the equipment. I know a lot of schools are planning on using those first 10 days to help the parents, to help train parents on devices. Because if you're talking about a 5 or 6 year old, they'll catch on pretty fast,
Right.
but the parent has to still be able to do that
well, yeah,
and help them with it.
yeah.
Absolutely. But no, I really want the parents to know we would really love to have them back if it was safe enough and if we could do it that way.
So in a lot of
easier.
classroom situations, you have teachers' aides or volunteers or whatever, or
Right.
some parents. Are you able, or are you set up to be able to continue? In other words, I got to be home from work all day anyway. I'm not working. My kid's going to school. Maybe there's something I can do to help. Is there any provisions that parents might be able to take advantage of if they wanted to?
Not that I'm aware of. We're still working out some of the gray
Gotcha, okay.
areas because, like you said, the aides that work at our school or get paid from our school, we're not sure if the funding is still going to be there for
Right.
them and exactly what they're going to do and how that might look.
Well, and legally, you can't, in other words, let's say you have a student and the parent says, hey, I'm here all day, so I'm going to sit in on this and I'll help you out there. You really can't do that unless they have been screened in some manner.
Right, right.
Okay.
All of the volunteers that come into the Clark County School District
Right.
just to read or to do spelling words or whatever the teacher might have them doing, yes, there's a vetting process. They have
Right,
to be
okay, so
fingerprinted.
right,
They
fingerprint,
have to
background
be,
checks
yep,
and all that
yep.
stuff.
Yeah, that's changed over the last few years.
I have, the last couple of years, I've heard, and I think we all have, a lot of really negative things about the Clark County schools and the district, and bottom of the list, and how we're way down there. So I'm very much feel better about what's going on and what you guys are doing. I went to elementary school here as a kid,
Oh, uh-huh.
and then I actually went to Fifth Street School.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Which is now a historic site.
Right.
And then we moved back to California, and I was 2 years ahead. When I went back to California, I sat back and skated for 2 years while they caught up to what I had been taught here. And that was back in
Yeah.
the late 50s, early 60s, and we had one of the top school districts in the nation. And so it kind of hurts to, and I understand the budgets and what we're up against and all that stuff, but I'm glad to see that they're paying more attention. So
Oh, yeah, because we've got some fabulous teachers. We
Yeah.
have, like you said, ones that you remember and
Yeah.
are good to your heart. And it's like when you're that large, there are going to be problems.
Sure.
Things that are harder to fix if the group is smaller. It would be easier to weed out bad teachers, like bad doctors and bad lawyers. There's always going to be a few that are probably just in the wrong
Yeah.
occupation and need to be
Yeah.
somewhere else. But most, I think, get into teaching because they care. they love the kids, and they want to do their best.
So it's not just because you get a 3-month vacation every year?
I'd like to think I get a 3-month vacation, but I spend most of my summers training,
Yeah.
learning more, renewing my license, bouncing ideas off my colleagues. We get together and we talk school.
Yeah.
We talk about, oh, what grade are you going to be in? What are you going to do? How are you going to help those kids that you were, had the hardest time with? We're always talking school. We never stop.
How much input do you have into, in other words, I want to teach grades 10 through 12 or 1 through 5. Does the teachers in the system currently, do they have any say in that, or?
We have some say in the sense of how you get your license and how you get your degree.
Okay.
So there's a elementary ed license, and then there's a secondary ed.
Gotcha, okay.
So if I wanted to teach high school, I couldn't.
Right. You
I would have to go back and
school
get certified for
Gotcha.
secondary ed and specialize in something. My license was K-8, so I could go into a middle school, but they would prefer I had a specialty.
Right.
Either a math specialty or a science specialty
Gotcha.
to go into middle school. Usually if elementary school teachers move into middle school, they usually teach like remedial reading or 6th grade math, 6th grade
Gotcha.
stuff,
Yeah.
unless they kind of beef up their license.
Right.
So same thing with specialists, though, they can be licensed K-12, like an
Gotcha.
art teacher or a music teacher, and then they can kind of interview and pick.
So you had mentioned, I think you said you've got like 4,000 substitutes in the system. Do they have to go through the same training? In other words, what's the difference between a substitute and a regular teacher?
Oh, gosh.
I mean, as far as your schooling, your education, or
Right.
the requirements.
They do not have the background that we have.
Okay.
Sometimes we get really lucky, and individuals that are going to school to become a teacher, sub.
Okay.
And so that's the best of both worlds because they're learning to be a teacher, so they're getting the classes and the theory behind everything, and they're subbing. But most of the time, you just have to have, I believe it's like a 2-year degree in anything. And they do require a couple of safety classes, things on how to keep the kids safe, keep you safe, those kinds of things. They do have requirements. I don't want to make it sound like
Yeah,
they
no,
don't.
I know.
But they're not, it's not the same. So if we're short and we put a long-term sub in, that long-term sub, for the most part, can't do what we do.
Yeah,
They don't, because they don't have the training.
right.
They don't have the background. So that's kind of sad.
I always loved having subs when I was in school. and sometimes it wasn't fun. But
Yeah, right. But unfortunately, here in Clark County, we have subs that do a whole year because we don't have a licensed
you don't
teacher
have,
for
you
that
don't have
spot.
enough teachers, right?
Yeah, and so hopefully then the principal was able to get somebody that is someone extra qualified.
What's the hardest thing about being a teacher?
The
For
hardest
you?
thing. Part of it was balancing my personal life and my own personal kids with working, because I was always bringing my work home. I was always bringing the grading home. I was always working on lesson plans on the weekend. I was always going in on the weekend, always working and trying to make sure I carved out enough time for my kids,
Yeah.
my personal kids at home, making sure that they knew that they were a priority too. I think that was the hardest.
Well, because it's been my experience and the teachers that I know, teaching is more than a full-time job. I mean, like you say, you're grading papers, you're taking classes, and are there requirements here in Clark County that you have to, like continuing education, you have to get so many credits every year to continue? Do you have any say in what you, in other words, do you have a menu that you have to do one of these things this year, or?
There are some things that are just required.
Right.
And so before every school year starts, there's on our list of things we need to do. There are things on MRSA, there are safety issues we have to watch, how to keep children safe if there's an armed gunman. There's all these trainings, videos and things that I know, isn't that crazy? We have to practice that stuff.
That breaks my heart, man.
Yeah, but every year we have videos that we
Yeah.
need to watch, things we have to sign off on, and those are, everybody does them.
Gotcha.
Support staff, janitors, teachers, all of us.
Really, janitors and stuff too. They're
Oh yeah, they need to know what to do
Wow.
to keep kids safe, to keep kids protected. We don't just practice, like when we were kids, we had like tornado drills and fire drills.
Right.
Well, we have active shooter drills. We have earthquake drills. We have, I mean, a lot more that we have to worry about.
Yeah.
We have what we call lockdown drills, where the kids know we go to one side of the room and we lay flat on
Right.
the ground, cover our heads, and not a peep.
Well, that was the other thing that how do you, so we have this social distancing, and how do you have a lockdown drill with the kids at school in that situation and still maintain that? You know what I mean?
Right. So
I mean, I know you can't answer.
What we're
it,
hoping is that when we open up and the kids are actually there, we'll have just the right amount of kids that it
you
wouldn't
could
be
get
an
that,
issue.
yeah.
Right. We could still be safe and still do these things. But since we're doing 100% online right now, we don't have to worry about that yet. But there's still so many moving
That's
pieces.
great. I'm really glad that you clarified that for me, because I think a lot of us and a lot of people I've talked to, we were under the impression that come August 24th, everybody's going back into the classroom. So
Now, there
that's
are,
awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, there are some rural exceptions. I know
Right.
some of the rural schools, because of the
They only have
teachers,
7 kids. Yeah.
Right, and the parents in the community said, we're okay with
Right.
it. But I think that's like the exception.
Yeah.
Yeah, everybody else is going back, is not going back until
So-
it's safe.
All the years that you've been teaching, what is your favorite part?
My favorite part.
What's the thing that you, when it happens to you during the year or whatever, you go, yeah, this is why I'm doing this?
Oh gosh, the hugs,
Yeah.
the smiles, when that kid that has been sad or struggling, and they give you that smile or that hug.
That's it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can dig it.
Yeah.
I when my 2 boys were growing up, the summer times, we were out at the ballpark because I coached Little League, and it was the same thing. Those kids were your kids, you know,
Oh,
after a
yeah.
couple of weeks
Oh,
there.
yeah.
And to see, you know, the first time they get a hit, the first time they catch a fly ball, you know, the first time they get, you know, get into home plate and stuff like that. And it's, yeah, there's nothing like that feeling. It's awesome.
Yeah.
So,
That is really cool.
yeah. So is there anything else? We're kind of running out of time here.
We
Is there
are
anything
running
else
out
that
of
you'd like to?
I didn't answer your question about the trainings, but we have to
Yeah,
train all
why
the
don't-
time.
why don't you answer that question?
I know, for our licenses.
Right.
And we get to choose.
Okay.
I mean, there are parameters. I can't take basket weaving and count that to renew my license.
Right.
But we have to have so many credits to renew our license every 6 or 7 years, depending on what's on your license.
Gotcha.
And they want us to do a little bit every year. And so that opens it up. And we can do the things like Canvas and get credit for that, or the trauma training, or the equity and diversity training. So we can spend our own money and take classes in the summer and have a little freedom
Okay,
in what we choose.
so you just hit on another sore spot for me, and that is you just said you can spend your own money
Yeah,
for continuing education.
yeah, to renew our license.
Okay.
No, not
Now,
like doctors
it-
and nurses that.
But I'm saying it's a requirement every year that you renew your license.
Yes.
So, but you have to pay for that.
Yes, we have to pay for it. We do.
Okay.
It's the nature of the beast.
I understand that,
You know. But yeah, we have to renew our license, keep it current, keep on top of things, and we have to pay for the classes.
Yeah, because otherwise you don't have to. I mean, you could say no and then be unemployed or something, right?
That's true.
Yeah.
That's right. No one's forcing
That's
me.
right. No one's forcing
I
you to work
chose
for a
this.
living.
That is
you
true.
could sit home and yeah.
Yeah, no.
You may not survive, but you know
Yeah,
you can do it if you
yeah.
want. So.
I just want everyone to know, though, we are just as scared and just as nervous about how the fall is going to go, because we want to do a great job. We
What-
want to be there for those kids.
What can the parents do to help you and the kids out the most this coming year?
Dialogue, be there. Let us know if you're scared or confused. Realize that we're human. We're going to make mistakes. We're going to drop classes on accident. We're going to click the wrong button and drop everyone
Right.
and have to figure out how to get everybody back online, because we're learning
Yeah.
and we're trying, and we understand that the parents are learning and the kids are learning, and we're all in this together. We got to have each other's backs.
So-
and I think that's what I want everyone to know.
Do all of your students, do all of the parents of your students have your contact info?
They do.
Or I mean, or they
Oh,
will,
yeah.
yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well,
Yeah.
because on our website are all the
Oh,
teachers'
okay.
emails and that sort of thing. And usually,
So the parent can go to a someplace online and say,
Yep.
hey, I need to talk to this teacher, you know, about my kid or whatever. So
yeah, and a lot of teachers give out their personal cell numbers. Not all of them.
I don't know if that's a good idea.
I know, but they're trying to bridge
Right.
those gaps. They want to be accessible. You can go to the schools, and a lot of schools have computers there you can use if you don't have one at home to email teachers. I did a lot of helping on homework on phones, you
Yeah.
know. So we try. We really try to be accessible because we know it's not easy.
cool.
We know it's not
Well,
easy.
I got to tell you, I personally, not that I don't have to go to school. I don't have a you know any dog in this fight, but I am gratified to learn some of the things that Clark County is doing to help the kids and to help the teachers, and because there's that concern, you know, this kid has lost, can lose a whole year of education, and you know, it's tough enough.
Yeah.
So it's good to know that they're going to try to keep on track.
Oh, absolutely.
So anything else you need to?
No, just partnership. We got this. We care. We know you care. We're in this together. We really, truly are. And together we can keep everybody safe. Together we can catch everybody up. It's all attitude.
Yeah.
We can catch them up if they believe.
But the parents have to do their part.
Yeah. It's a partnership.
Yeah, and more so now than before.
Absolutely.
You know, because
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Only because we need them.
Do your part. Yeah. So. Okay. Well, I guess that's going to be just about do it. And I just want to remind everybody that excuse me, next Saturday over at the Borders Bookstore on Rainbow from 9 to 12. Come on over there. I'll be doing a book signing. So.
Book signing. You have a book?
No, I just go there and sign. If you buy a book at Borders, I just go there and sign it for you. So. And with that
okay.
being said, we're gonna Theresa, thank you very, very much for
you're
coming in and
welcome.
sharing your information. And I also want to point out that you are involved in another weird group. Are you not?
I am.
You want to
Babes
tell us a
in-
little bit about that?
Sure. Babes in Voiceland. We film right here at your studio.
You do?
We do, with the babes. And we have a lot of fun.
Yes, you do.
It's
In
a
fact, your last show, you went to Paris, didn't you?
We did go to Paris.
Cool.
Oh, that was a lot of fun. Virtually, of course, because we're being safe and paying attention to
That's
the
right.
pandemic. Absolutely.
Yeah, because the French won't let us in right now.
No. That they won't. But we had a good time on our show. Yeah, and if anyone's interested in checking out, it's kind of a creative outlet for me. It's babesinvoiceland.com, or you can email us at babesandvoiceland@gmail.com. And I think I got it right, because usually Diana says it. She usually gets
Good
it
job,
wrong.
good
so,
job.
woo.
And you know, you can check them out at WWDBTV.com on our website and our YouTube channel. And you guys, you do a good show and you have fun. And like I say, thanks again for supporting us and supporting the station. And you guys stay safe. And remember, if you're going to do it with Stiles. Thanks.
Nice work, John.